Okay, we're back.
How'd it go? I don't know the chords. I think it's E flat major C minor. Yeah, I was just playing that as it was charging.
So it's E flat major C minor. We all united together now that I think about it. We both a little pretty interested. The authorities if the van help on any other step go to juvie. Well, at least half the people in himself would be off to prison. So I suppose at least enough people they know.
We didn't think of them as criminal acts, though. It was a war. Also, by the way, looked in my kanji book, and this is the character for I, which makes sense because you know it's in the title Meakashi, eye opening. Anyways, actually, eye opening. Guitar out of the way. I don't think it has like an example for eye opening, but he does give examples. Because the characters have different readings. It's like you got like a Japanese reading and a Chinese reading for it, so you got different wording. I mean, it's all in the Japanese syllable language and all that shit, but it's different readings depending on the context. So like I uses me, which is Japanese reading, while objective or intention, for example, uses moku teki. Moku being the use of I in this one, but it's using the Chinese writing for it. And I don't fully understand it, really. Then you got the Japanese reading again for the standout, me datsu. And then you got the Chinese reading again for objective targets, moku hyo. Or moku hyo. But I think it's hyo, probably. It's like you got two readings in the Japanese, which is me or ma. It doesn't give an example for ma, though. Then there's moku, which it gives two examples for, but it doesn't for the second reading in the Chinese one, which is, I think, boku, I think. Essentially, you get different readings depending on the context. I think for the Japanese one, if you see hiragana coming in it, it's probably the Japanese one. If it's like just a bunch of kanji characters, one after the other, then it's probably the Chinese reading. I'm not entirely sure yet. But yeah, it might also have been a festival. A festival where every person in Himizo joined together in protest. It was a struggle, but it was also fun. It was fun to throw stones at the SWAT team with everybody. We hid ourselves in somebody's home when they chased after us. How mischievous. We'd even go a crowd around the police station demanding the release of our arrested comrades. When we snuck into the construction site and sabotaged it, it felt more like we were playing at war than conducting one. I got so excited back then. I felt united with my fellow members, even though they were strangers to me. And that memory warms my heart. Yes, the way it felt back then was like helping everyone to carry a sacred palanquin or whatever with the village, getting all sweaty and exhausted together. Until we all collapsed face first on the ground, shared our excitement and cheers with unfamiliar faces over tea. I was just a kid back then. I remember accompanying young men who worked for my dad out to the village to do various bad things. I was arrested a few times. It didn't feel any different though than when I was called to the teacher's office for forgetting my homework. The other villagers were furious about the dam project, but for those of us who were kids at the time, it's a pretty fun memory. Well, that came to a sudden end a few years ago. It wasn't only the power of the protest that ended the dam construction project. The Sonozaki family and my dad's organization had worked secretly in the shadows. This is top secret information in the Sonozaki family, but said they may or may not have kidnapped the Minister of Construction's grandson, which we learned all about in Higurashi, and ordered to blackmail him. The grandson was found a few days after the abduction. He was found in the mountains of Yagochi. He didn't simply disappear, and he wasn't demoned away. That means some kind of deal was made secretly. A year after that, the dam construction plan was halted indefinitely. The police suspected the villagers' involvement and investigated, but they couldn't find any leads. The villagers never betrayed each other. They do anything to protect their fellow man. They fabricated fake alibis and fake evidence. It was easy to deceive the police. Gah! The car suddenly shook, snapped me out of it. It must have run over a bump or something. I suddenly realized my expression was a very happy one for some reason. I must be looking forward to going home. Shion-san, are you awake? What is it? Would you like me to take you to the house in Okinomiya? Where else would you be taking me? Answer straightforwardly with a frown. Kasai then also chose to reply straightforwardly. It was the family head who decided on your enrollment in St. Lucia, and you ran away from that. You do understand the situation, right? The school I had chose didn't fit me, that's all. Shion-san. I know. Shut up. As the head of the family, the Hag's decisions are absolute. They're nothing like, say, the 3-second rule. Worse, the decision to confine me to an academy far away from the Sonozaki family was made before I was even born. Shion was the name they gave me. My sister Mion has a character that means demon in her name. God damn it, man! We're not gonna have a character on the freaking thumbnail because of this shit. But I gotta see. We gotta see the demon. I guess that right there, that character that kind of looks like a waffle that's been impaled. I suppose that, yeah, right there. See that? That's Oni. And as you can see, it's right there. He is actually in the kanji here. I've read about this stuff as well, where it's like, you take one kanji character, and you put another kanji character into it, or something like that, and it becomes a different character entirely. So she does technically have demon in her name. Sort of, the character for it. How about Shion's name now? What would her name be? That's her name right there. Shion. Yeah, she doesn't have the demon in her name. Kinda interesting. That was to signify that she is the successor of demons. In other words, she would be the successor to the Sonozaki family and its demonic bloodline. Her name, Shion, has a character that means temple in it. God damn it. I must know. Again, see right there? It's like right there. In that one kanji. So you got this character, you put it next to a cupboard with a bunch of misplaced books on top of it. Just look at it like that. It's kind of interesting how the characters work like that. But it also makes them incredibly confusing. Especially considering there's thousands of them. This means that I was destined to take the veil and be confined in the temple. Well, so it's like, oh, well, we're gonna give you a fitting name. We're gonna just like have you go off to a Catholic school and speak nothing else of it because we don't want you here. What a shitty thing. Thinking of that reminds me how much I hate this name of mine. For starters, the person known as Shion is an abnormal being to the Sonozaki family. Because it meant the family had 2 hairs. I don't have to cite the countless historical examples to explain. It's easy to imagine how that could prove troublesome for succession. Yes, if you've ever really read any history whatsoever, that's always the case, isn't it? I mean, how many times in history have there been, like, family members literally backstabbing each other because they want to get to be first in line for the throne or some shit? They want power, but they're just like, no, you aren't the next in line, so fuck you. So it ends up being a bunch of infighting rather than actually freaking properly rolling over a goddamn country, town, city, wherever the fuck it is, because they're so stupid focused on that shit that they just Yeah, so that must have sucked, according to our long-held family traditions. When the twins was to be strangled to death right after birth. Wow, how about that? Unbelievable, isn't it? What that means is that I have to be grateful just to be alive and breathing to this day. I heard the hag actually put her hands around my neck right after I was born. Well, no wonder why she doesn't like her then. I don't know what exchange took place in that moment. Maybe some brave relative of mine managed to get her to stop. Or maybe she was in an extremely good mood that day. And don't try to strangle me. We're twins. There are no apparent differences between us. The first one out of my mum's stomach was named Mion, and the second one drew the short straw and got named Shion. Well, if they were originally going to do that, well, they probably gave her a name afterwards, obviously. Everyone else was desperate to tell us apart, but we sisters just found that awfully ridiculous. There wasn't any difference between us. No one could tell us apart, even if we were only swapped paths. Well, she says all this, but I think there are differences between the 2 sisters. We wondered why all the grown-ups were trying to see the differences. Well, our fun as twins didn't last forever. One day they created an undeniable, clear distinction between Mion and Shion. Mion went to the main Sonozaki house to live with the hag and to learn how to become the successor. And I was to be confined at St. Lucia's. I have no objection to Sissy's inheritance. I used to be jealous, but now I feel that having to learn about and follow traditions would just make me tired. I even feel sorry for Mion. So I'm not going to be a threat to the family even if I'm backing up. But the hag doesn't seem to think that way. She thinks of me as some kind of evil omen. That's why she wants to keep me away from her. That doesn't matter to me. I don't want to see her face off. I don't care if she doesn't allow me to enter Himiza. She can charge me 10,000 yen per step I take that. But I want her to let me live in Okinomiya, where I grew up. When I was little I was in Himizawa, but I don't remember it much. And I'm not very attached to it. I do have good memories of my elementary school days in Okinomiya. The town isn't very sophisticated, but I kind of like it there. If you go back to Okinomiya, somebody from the family will notice you. And then they'll report you to the main house. Me worried the hag will hear about it. That might be a problem. I hope you understand the situation. What, Kasai? Are you telling me to go back to that awful place? No, I'm not. What I'm trying to say is, I want to know whether I'm prepared. I just hope you understand what might happen. Well, I know what you mean. You'll be held responsible for helping me escape if things go bad, right? You sure caress your pinky finger while you can, Kansai, before they take it away from you. You should look forward to being rolled up in a futon match and thrown into the Oniga future swamp in that case. Maybe they'll send you to the torture room in the garden. I heard there's a big torture room in the main Sonozaki house. I've never seen it though. I heard they used to torture and kill the enemies of the village in there. It's just awful, really. I hope I don't end up as a victim of that place. Okay, everything's gonna be alright. You really resemble your mother in the way you take chances on you. That's normal, she's my mom. My dad and mom will be furious if they find out about my escape. I'm more afraid of them than of the hag. I don't want to go into the details, but my dad is part of the Yakuza. That's kind of been established, really, or at least it's been very, very clearly hinted at in a not so subtle way. He's in charge of the organization which covers the Shishapone area. He's in a very important position. So is Kasai here. He's an old friend of Dad who really trusts him. I don't know if this is true, but I heard Kasai used to be very aggressive, though he's gentle now. Also heard he has tons of scars. He's in charge of a few large areas, but after he was injured badly in a fight, he retired. Now he's my dad's consultant, aka a drinking buddy. He was my caretaker in my childhood, and now I feel like he's my butler. First I thought my dad asked him to supervise me, so I hated him. But in time I started to feel like he was on my side. This is just a hunch, but I think Kasai used to be in love with my mom. My dad, mum, and Kasai were in a love triangle. Though my dad took the lead in the end. Kasai couldn't leave my mum entirely, so he stayed around as my dad's friend. I can tell that from the way he acts. He's seeing my mum in me. That's why he says I look like my mum every now and then. This kind of gives me the creeps at first, but he isn't a bad guy at all. It's actually pretty funny when I found out that after I got used to him. So when I thought about escaping, I naturally turned to him. I contacted him in an early stage of my plan and arranged to meet him today. You could call him a conspirator. It's not surprising he's worried about my return to Okinomiya. Considering the rules and traditions, cutting off his pinky isn't too much far from reality. Well, that would suck if it was me. It's like, but I've only got the one pinky. My left hand, I don't have a pinky on there. I was born without a pinky on my left hand. You can't take away my right hand. One, because I use that when I'm playing keyboard. Well, actually, and guitar as well. Without the pinky, I wouldn't be able to do those long stretches. The dilemma when you really think about such things. And well, that's only one of the problems, really, with that, wouldn't it? Anyways, consider those that might be rolled up in a fish on map and thrown into the swamp for real too. And so there's only one place for me to return. I'm going to Okinomiya and nowhere else. That's my hometown. This might be kind of homesickness. But I don't care what it looks like. So what are you going to do? The Sonozaki family is everywhere. Well, I'll lay low for now. If somebody sees me, I'll tell them I'm Mion. Then after things calm down a little bit, I'll start talking to my closest relatives. I know they'll be on my side. I know some people who covered for me when I had a fight with my dad once. I see. You're trying to create a bit of complex so that the Sonozaki main house will have to accept you later on. I hope that works. It will. There were many people who were opposed to the idea of enrolling me in that school. The decision was obviously made because of the hag's hate ritual of me. Don't you agree, Kasai? Well, yes. I thought that decision was excessive. She couldn't make the right decision because she was suffering from menopause. All the fuss around the damn project drove her nuts. Kasai smiled. I couldn't go to sleep after all, even though I was rolled up in a blanket. Even though I told Kasai to shut up, I kept talking to him. In time, I got tired of talking, as I could feel the car run smoothly on the highway. Kasai spoke to me again. Shion, look. I was so tired that I ignored him. I wondered what he wanted me to look at, but I wasn't that interested. Cut out my slightly sore sign quickly passed by. Kasai probably wanted me to see that sign. It had an illustration of azaleas around letters that said, "Welcome to Shishibone City. My hometown's coming right up." Here it is, Chapter 5, Meakashi. Doo-doo. This melody gets used in a lot of these tracks. Shion Sonozaki.
Keiichi Mabara, Mion Sonozaki, Reika Frude, Renaryugu, and Satoka Hojo.
That's that right there. Keiichi, Reda, Mion, Satoka, Rika. That's how I order it in tags. Satoshi Hojo, Kurado, Ishii, Jiro, Tamatake, Mio, Takano, Kosuke Irie, Tatsuyoshi Kasai, Meakashi. Oh, that's a full name there. Akane Sonozaki, Higurashi when they cry. Kai. And here it is in Japanese, in case you forgot what the title was. Higurashi no Naku. What? You ever seen new tip? The notebook's beginning. Naku means cry, by the way. I said that before. Achievement unlocked. Good boy, sister. Okay, let's go for the tip. Different music here as well. It's the exact same melody. It's just played in a music box way. Notebook's beginning. June 1982. Satoshi Haji disobeyed several days into a Tolgashi festival. Well, with three possible reasons for his violence. One possibility was accident. Thereby assuming he ended up in a few months after he had Roger's hits. That's just the police said for certainly and haven't found his body. This possibility seems small. The second possibility is the set motivated experience. Tanoshiko had been living in dire circumstances. His close friend actually heard him imply he might run away. The police thought he skipped town after getting his on. That seemed plausible considering that aspect, but the police arrested non-objection from the murder, so the top officers must also be considered false. The last possibility is that he was involved in the series of mysterious death in Edmund's house. It's also called because voice Hiroshima, who he fell victim to it and his beard. As always says, some cult powers active verified, this curse must be the act of humans. It's all natural to assume that Satoshi was made to disobey by someone well. So the question is, whose? The possibilities are quite limited. The culprit is either a member of the Sondak family, a member of the Frey family, or one of their ready relatives. The police can assume that easily. I need to think beyond that. Who did it? How did it happen? And why did it have to be done? Why did Satoshi fall victim? What was the motive? Who gave out that order? Who actually did it? The mastermind, the culprit, and the truth. All are in reach of my grasp. Maybe I'll find them right behind my back. But even though I can't reach everywhere, there are parts of my back I have to make an effort to reach, clenching my teeth and cracking my joints so that the tips of my fingers can barely touch them. The truth is hidden in places like those. I'm writing this because I need to hold down my thoughts and memorize. Nobody will read it other than myself. But if somebody does, that means that either I've heard his nose away because I no longer need them, or I fell victim to the cursed voice sentence trumpet in the middle of my attempt to solve the mystery. If it was former, that's okay. But if it was the latter, please, I want you to help me. Please help the spouseless young gal. We read that. Was that Shion? Is that Shion's notebook or someone else's? I can't remember. But why the fuck did I read it in that way? I don't know. We got free cards unlocked now. Free card drops, only one left. We only got through the freaking intro. AD 1982. The fifth year of the series of mysterious deaths in Enemy's Hour, also known as Oyashiro-sama's curse. 1 year prior to Keiichi transfer. Ah, yeah. I forgot all about that, actually. This starts out 1 year before that, but it also takes place the same way like the first 3 question arcs. It's also a bit of a prequel as well, in a way. Sort of. Because it like establishes quite a bit more in the build up to it all. And then it goes over it. So I think this is going to be quite a long arc. I didn't hear a wake up chime. I'm not in school anymore. My brain is half asleep, but I'm aware of that. Waking up at the same time as the chime would go off at school doesn't feel good. I can't go back to sleep after this. Still, I'm not going to live a torturous school life anymore. I can make today either happy or boring. It's up to me.
Yay, that's really positive. I feel like I'm alive for the first time in a while.
I didn't have any other clothes, so I was still wearing the school track uniform. It's supposed to have been designed by some famous Italian person, but it just looks plain to me. It really doesn't feel great still being closed from that school. I want to enjoy my freedom as soon as possible. I especially don't want to walk around outside wearing it. I should have Kasai bring me some new clothes later. And I should think of redecorating his room. After all, this is going to be my castle from now on.
This is a room in a gorgeous apartment building in the suburbs of Okinomiya.
The property is one built in my dad's obtained after foreclosure due to some sort of dispute. Again, with words I'm not overly familiar with. Most of the residents moved out during that. So while there are plenty of rooms, it's a lonely complex that feels devoid of people. Plus, with the exception of the manager and a scant one or two others, all the residents are shady-looking people connected to my dad. It probably won't be much longer before the virtuous residents are driven out. The apartment I'm living in used to be the room they'd use for viewings, so it looks like a room in a business hotel. It's fully furnished but lacking in daily necessities. I'll buy those things over time, though. It's better that way anyway. It'll make it feel more like my own room. I nodded to myself. It might have looked stupid, but it helped psych me up. At the school, there was a TV only in the common room, and we weren't allowed to watch any cable channels. I zapped through all those channels as a form of emancipation. That's the thing with novels, they use words that you don't really tend to hear very often, if at all. I'm going to Google that in a moment. Ah, I see. Okay. Fair enough. That's the meaning. So, liberation, essentially. You could have just been like, I zapped through all those channels as a form of liberation, but no, you're like, no. Use a different word, and we want it to sound a little less plain, so emancipation. Nah, that's a good way, yeah. I mean, to be fair, it does make it more interesting, so I can see why a lot of people write like that when they write stories and shit. But man, it can be confusing when you come across a word you're not overly familiar with. But I've definitely heard that word before. It's like, I'm thinking like, this is kind of obscure kind of one, but it's not really. Have you ever seen the South Park Bigger, Longer and Cut, the South Park movie? There's a scene where like Chef like says something like, I can't remember what it was, but he said it after like the general or wherever the hell he was just like, okay, we're gonna have this racist kind of strategy here, and Chef called him out on it, and he said like something that's used that word, emancipation, I think, and like the guy didn't realize what he's talking about. I'm not even fully sure what it was, because I can't remember the full line, let alone whatever, but he just was like, I don't listen to hip-hop. It's just like, what? That wasn't what it was. But yeah, it was early in the morning, so nothing interesting was on. That's pretty much, I think, the only thing I can really think of where I've heard that word before. Well, I suppose I've heard it in this novel here, if they used that wording when I originally read them. But it's not a word I come across, you know, very often, if I don't. Anyways, but I enjoyed it anyway. Commercials are fun to watch. They must have been some really absurd commercials. Kasai dropped by with lunch right when I start to feel hungry. Good morning, Shion-san. Did you sleep well last night? Sleeping on the couch is a bit too uncomfortable. As a Japanese person, I want to sleep in a futon on the floor. Now, this pickled radish is good. That's good to hear. Please let me know what you need later on. I'll try to get as much as I can. Thanks. Oh, but you don't need to worry as much about me. I chose this life for myself anyway. And your wallet wouldn't last if I started extorting you, right? I have to be serious about my plan. I can't let myself take advantage of Kasai's wallet forever. I think I'm gonna start a part-time job. I have to earn my own living. This is the life I chose, so naturally I have to take care of it myself.
That's reassuring to hear, but are you sure? If you go outside, eventually someone in the family will discover you.
I give that a little thought, which is why I'll need Mion's help. Kasai, would you mind calling the main house for me? When Mion answers, pass me the receiver.
Pass her the receiver!
In the next part. Because we're gonna call a recording here, just make the first save. Kasai in the background. But first, before we wrap this up, we must see what card drops we had. Actually, let's close this first, because then we might actually end up move that out of the way a bit. Yeah. Because we might end up having a 4th card drop at this rate. So have a look at the cards. Opposing sides, unexpected way of thinking, Mion. That is pretty much the exact same expression she had in the background, isn't it? Then we got Rena. A new face, ambiguous entity. And you know what? I actually got 2 pages now, surprisingly. You know what? I've got a double, because it's the exact same one. I got doubles. Anyone want to trade? No. Just like how is... Well, I suppose the only way you could actually obtain every single card, I think there's 8 total for each arc, would to be to trade and all that shit. I don't know how it works, but, you know, that's there, I suppose. Just 1 more card left. And I wonder if it'll be an L double or it'll be something different. Either way it goes. We haven't even counted Renner in this arc yet. In fact, we haven't even counted Mion in this arc yet. But we will. Eventually. In fact, I think, yeah. Because, the first half of this arc, if I recall, goes over, like, the year before Keiichi moves in. And that was technically when Renner was around. So it starts off like that, but then it does end up going into, like, being a full-on answer arc to Okinomiya, where it takes place from Shion's perspective. I mean, it is from Shion's perspective already, but it's already like it does a year in advance to build up and establish things, and then it goes into that, so it gives, you know, further context into how the plot actually plays out. Because in Okinomiya, there are a lot of things that went unanswered and kind of vague. It will all come together in this arc. This answer arc. Whatever. I'll see you next time, essentially, viewers. See you next time.